In this video, we talk about how Jake Paul brutally knocked out Tyron Woodley. So, as we know, Jake Paul was able to pretty much just put Tyron Woodley's lights out with a brutal right hand, which was literally a one-punch KO. It came out of absolutely nowhere. No one really expected it because it was close fight at the time. So, no one really expected Jake Paul to just come in with a huge overhand right and put Woodley down. If anything, it was more likely that Woodley would be doing that, especially considering the first fight and how he was able to rock Jake on the ropes. So, geez, what an outcome.
Yeah, like that gotta be one of the most devastating KOs I've seen,
Yeah.
especially like in a long time. That was incredible. Like just with one shot on a guy like Woodley, who has a real amazing chin. And on the last fight, he was able to eat a lot of Jake's punches, and now with this time, just his full leverage, full hip rotation, full power into that huge shot and just slam Woodley, and Woodley just
Yeah.
went out.
And to do it
That
against
was
such
bad.
a veteran, such a combat sports legend in MMA, of course, becoming a five-time UFC world champion, a future Hall of Famer pretty much, and to knock him out like that so brutally with just a one-shot KO, which he kind of set up because Woodley was coming in to parry the jab, but Jake kind of feinted it and then came in with a huge overhand right, which just put Woodley's lights out. And it was definitely a good setup from Jake. He was always trying to reset throughout the fight. You notice he was clinching a lot. Both of them were kind of clinching, and they were kind of making a dirty fight and pretty much a boring fight. We're watching it, and nothing's really
Yeah.
happening. No one's really landing significant shots. Nothing's really happening. Jake's not really getting behind his jab as pretty much everyone thought he would, and he wasn't really boxing as much. But he went for that one shot KO, which really put a statement out there to pretty much just put him on the map there in boxing and get all the hype behind him yet again from another crazy knockout. Like, jeez.
I mean, like, just wow, man. Like, just no one saw that coming. Like that fight was pretty stale. There wasn't much going on. They were clinching very frequently, and just boom, just like that. And that's why combat sports, man, anything can happen.
Yeah.
And like we saw, man, no one expected Woodley to, especially get knocked out like that. Like maybe like a knockdown during the fight, but a
Yeah,
KO
and he went
like
limp.
that,
Like his
and
soul,
Woodley
like it
was
looked like his
out.
soul left his body. The way that he
It
fell
did.
and like the way that he went out, it was crazy. And it kind of looked like an eraser. Like people say how Deontay Wilder, he's not a good boxer. Obviously, it's wild for me to compare him to Deontay Wilder. That's not really what I'm saying, but in the essence that Deontay Wilder isn't the greatest boxer, and he usually loses rounds, but then he comes in with one shot out of nowhere and can put lights out on anybody. Especially that fight with Luis Ortiz where he was down pretty much I think 7 rounds, and then just came out with one overhand right, put Luis Ortiz out in just one shot, which is very similar to what Jake did here. He wasn't he probably wasn't losing the fight. I think I had it 3-2. So Jake was up 1 round on my scorecard, but a lot of people had it differently. Some people had it for Woodley, some people had it for Jake. Different scorecards out there. But Jake just covered all that controversy and just put it out there, put a statement out, just erased all those previous 5 rounds by just putting Woodley out like a light. And that was such a statement, such a huge win for Jake. And that is really going to propel his career from here on out even more than it already has been. The trajectory that he's going on in boxing is pretty crazy right now.
Yeah, and for me also I had Woodley up on the scorecards, and it was interesting how it played out because I kind of had Jake Paul coming in here trying to box more and trying to just play to his style more and kind of use his height and his size to
Yeah.
his advantage. And I wasn't really expecting how it went where they were kind of clinching, and I guess that was part of Jake's plan. Like how you mentioned in the post-fight interview, how he was setting up that shot that whole fight, and then I guess that's what he was going for, and then he managed by kind of, in a way, it was a deceptive overhand where it kind of looked like he was going to the body maybe, and then that might have been what Tyron was looking at, and then he came up top and just nailed Woodley with a huge shot, and that's a really impressive thing to have in his arsenal. Just to know that Jake Paul could knock out anyone at his weight class is it's huge for him, and now it's definitely he's gonna be a force to be reckoned with, and if he's able to build his skills a bit more and kind of improve on some of the more technical aspects, even though he looked a lot more sharper than the last fight, then he could really start to improve and become a much better boxer overall.
And another big thing that people are missing in this fight is that he was able to carry that power within those 6 rounds, within that adversity that he was facing. Obviously, he had a huge cut on his forehead, so that opened up, and he had to deal with that. He had to deal with eye with blood in his eyes and near his nose and his mouth, and that's not usually something that someone that early in a career has to deal with, especially that big of a cut. And Jake handled it well. He handled it like a professional boxer would. So credit to
Yeah,
him.
it's a
Credit to
deep
him
cut.
for still having that pace and that cardio to be able to land a flush knockout one punch shot all the way in the later rounds in the sixth round. So I mean credit to him because that it was a great shot and it was later in the fight. A lot of people thought if Jake was gonna win, it would be by early when he still has his cardio, but he had his cardio throughout the rounds. Definitely which was definitely impressive because obviously the first fight he didn't really have the best cardio because he was using it a lot, especially his cardio management this fight. He wasn't really on the back foot as much. He wasn't running around the ring as much. He was kind of staying toe to toe with Woodley, which I mean is kind of dangerous, but he managed to clinch up and just do the right stuff to get that one punch shot. So we can't really question his performance when he had that devastating blow at the end. Thank you guys so much for watching. This clip is taken directly from our Punch Plan podcast, which you can check right now on your screen. And don't forget, be sure to like and subscribe and check out our other videos if you enjoyed.